We join back in with our adventurers as they continue to explore the city of Cadfesi before the beginning of the Festival of Grand Ascendancy. The group themselves have been moving around the city and encountering some strange and different individuals. Ichi and Dante having a creepy, interesting evening, but brushed off in the morning as passing nothings, and Volu and Eleni beginning their research. We join them now as Eleni and Volu sit having a picnic outside the front of the library and have just witnessed a group of teenagers crack a piece of Zikar off one of the large floating platforms, causing it to topple in its now unbalanced state before they run towards the stairs that lead down further into the Crucible. We know Ichi is up in the Zenith Ward, currently trying to secure sponsorship from a more reputable source, potentially, while I believe Dante is still out spreading the good word of the chaotic embers. So we'll come back in with Eleni and Volu. You witness, and in a moment, Eleni, even as you're pondering, like, should I? They're already down an alley and going. Like, the kids are not stopping for anybody.
I think.
Well, you mentioned the stairs, so I'm not interested.
I think I would have sort of almost stood up. Like, I'd have sort of gone, oh, and gone to stand up, and then I'd stop. And Volley would see her sort of looking at the teenagers, and then looking back at the platform that's now tilted, and things are sliding off it.
And the platform itself is currently there was a guard nearby that moved to get the kids, but then almost this thing toppling, like, get out of the way, boxes spilling everywhere. So there's definitely distracted commotion in the street.
She would sort of take a moment and then just sort of very slowly sink back down to the seat.
Everything okay?
Yes. Yes. It's fine.
There's a lot of boxes spread out everywhere. Do you think we should help?
Possibly.
As you look over,
I think they've got it though.
As you look over, the workers that are moving the stuff, because as you've seen, none of these transport platforms tend to be like, they're not solo moving. They're not like some of they're not even really Aether Stream powered at all. They don't have their own movement capabilities. A lot of them are tethered and towed, and some of them dragged by Beast of Burden. It just means that they're able to move these incredibly large objects up and down stairs, up and down the rocky terrain, and are unimpeded. They do seem to be getting it back underway, but you can also see and hear one of them, a human, currently swearing extremely loudly and extensively, talking about another platform gone, these kids, and you can sort of hear it, and it seems you get the frustration that they almost start having to, like, right, you run up and grab. They're going to have to, like, go and get either another platform or multiple carts, because what they put on one platform is too big, and people start to move and, like, hustle to get it done. But also you can see that the guards begin cordoning that bit of the street, sort of moving people around, notifying people so that they can keep an eye on everything.
I'm just going to very quietly say, we do still have quite a lot to do in the library, and I'm not sure I want to draw attention to us.
Yeah, we've not found much, have we?
No, but we were only looking in the modern maps. There are some very old historical maps in there that it might be worth looking at.
I think let's finish our picnic and let's move back inside, because it's quite a hustle out here, and I don't want to be wrapped up in whatever's going on there. It seems to be happening quite a lot from what we're hearing.
Yeah, I think we should keep an eye out for those kids, though. There's definitely something. I'm not sure if it's just for fun, but let's see.
Yeah.
But yeah, she purposely made lots and lots of sandwiches so that Volu, because she's noticed that he eats quite a lot, so she made like extra sandwiches for Volu to eat.
Yeah. No, I was saying, as that was going on, I was just there with the sandwich, like,
Yeah.
Okay, you'll be able to finish up and begin heading back inside to continue your research. As you move in, the attendant waves towards you to say, like, "Yes, I've seen you," but you see that they're currently doing something else. They're not like you don't need assistance unless you're coming up for assistance.
Does anything look out of place?
No, not massively. And you know from when she spoke to you earlier. They told you that you were currently in the modern section, but they pointed like it was like three stacks down from that area for you to sort of see more historical. And as you're moving towards and taking that research, can I actually get intelligence checks from you both?
Straight intelligence.
Straight intelligence.
20.
Nice. 18.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to just take a brief pause on Eleni and Volu as you begin delving into the books and the stacks and you're pulling out maps. And it takes a while. You're just going to be poring over some old maps and trying to look at different things. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And we're going to move back towards Ichi. Ichi, you have been sort of led... you were sort of escorted out of the glass estate down the larger driveway and onto the main street. The attendant that brought you here hands you a letter that's there's basically nothing on it other than like a very short "My lady wishes for you to speak to this individual about blah blah blah," but it's mainly there is a stamp at the bottom and they say if you show this at the gates of the laboratory, they will take you to Master Thaddeus.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Have a nice day. And they will head back inside and continue attending to their clients.
Wonderful. Make my way to the laboratory.
It's a pretty short walk, and it's fairly obviously so. Like the glass estate almost touches not the like front end of where you would enter the lab, but the back end of the lab basically backs onto their property. So you almost just walking the circumference of the buildings to get back to the front rather than having to go streets over or anything like that.
Is this where I more or less saw the explosion the other night come from? Like that puff of smoke?
Roughly.
Cool.
You would estimate somewhere in the garden, maybe.
Question about recalling that specific puff of smoke. Did it sound like...
It was silent. It
was just smoke.
It almost that noise, that sort of like...
Oh, but it wasn't smoke, it was more... like vapor, like steam.
Yeah, it's more like vapor than, and it's almost like that fire extinguisher sound, but at such a long distance, it was basically silent to you.
Cool. I just wanted to clarify before I went in and was kind of there like, I saw the other day that there was some things and perhaps an experimental engine that you're working on. Let us take it for a test drive.
Yeah, no worries. You would very easily be able to make your way around. As you get round to the front, you would see 4 or 5 different civilians. There's a dwarf and a gnome and a human, varied, and you can see that from their dress, you would guess that they are miners or related to the Zikar process in some way, and as you're approaching, a dwarf is currently shouting at the front attendant, like, "I don't care that I don't have an appointment. He needs to see us now. He promised us some things." They're like, "Calm down, sir. Like, we can't. No, get Thaddeus out here now. He promised us that if we worked there." And you sort of, I would say, as you get closer, he sort of sees, and the attendant looks, and there's definitely, like, as frustrated as the dwarf is, I think each you would understand there is a lot of image in, and it's the sort of you would know it from. It's the sort of things the nomads spoke about in the sense that they were free from it. Like, one of the big benefits to being nomadic is that generally your standing is on par with everyone else's. It's almost by your merit rather than your name or how you look or how you appear. Yeah. In the cities that isn't the case, and everyone, upon seeing first of all a stranger, and then also you would see a few of the eyes pop to the shield and the insignia, and that sort of like, we don't know who you're friends with, who you're etc., and they sort of quieten down and they say, we'll be over. 1 second, let me find it. Sorry. We'll be over in... the ale stream. Tell Thaddeus he needs to come see us soon as. And then they sort of march away. You can see that one of the gnomes is sort of like, no, we shouldn't go. And he's like, it's not worth it right now. And they sort of like turn around and walk away. As you approach, the attendant just switches up, like, apologies on that front. How can I help you today?
Absolutely no worries. Is everything okay?
Oh, yes. I do not know the dealings. They seem very upset, but they do not have an appointment. And in that matter, your name, if you have an appointment with...
I don't have an appointment to speak. It is Thaddeus, isn't it?
Yes. And you would see, as you start to say, I don't have an appointment, there's like the sigh and the like...
But I do have this. And I'll hand the...
Oh, and immediately as they see it, like, 1 moment. Yes, of course, not a problem. We can, of course, your name, sorry, just for the register.
Well, of course, it's Ichi.
They note, and you would see that there is, they're not like trying to hide it. You would see over the shoulder, they write your name, they write meeting Thaddeus.
Mm-hmm. Just like a log of people who have come and gone.
Yeah, but there is also like an in and out box.
Okay, so they can track who's...
They tick the inbox, and then they close the book. They say, just if you'd like to take a seat just a moment, I will have somebody... and they point in a direction and touch a pin on their like lapel. And just, could I have someone to the gate to escort someone to see Thaddeus, please?
Little message cantrip.
Mm-hmm. It seems to be on like a little pin that they wear that you have, and it's got the house glass insignia on it. You have seen most of the employees you have seen wearing one of these. Mm-hmm. After a few moments, you would see a much smaller cloud coach. It doesn't seem as like protected or packed on as the taxi version that you were in. If you imagine, it's almost like a go-kart, the buggies you drive on a golf cart. Like it's just got all the extra bits stripped off it, so you can see straight through it.
A simple A to B vehicle.
Yeah, and it simply hovers up and Master Ichi, if you wish.
Oh, thank you. And Ichi will stand and hop on. Sit on the backwards facing seat, I'm guessing. And they begin moving forwards. You're going for a few minutes, and as you move through the lab, it is interesting. You're seeing lots of different buildings. There's lots of like windows, and there is lots of glass in these buildings. And as you're passing them, you sort of look in there, and there's like different engines that are in the midst of being made. And on that side, there's glowing. The glow that you know comes from the Zikar crystal.
but you can't see what they're doing. It's almost like you just see that glow coming from over the top. The person driving does not speak to you or make any attempts to small talk in the slightest. And after maybe 10 minutes, they pull up outside the front of, and you all like, you're literally like back at the House Glass estate as but
we've basically gone like
so
that
you've come all the way around, and then they've driven you from the front of the facility to the back of the facility, which is a 10-minute. And you would know, actually, Ichi, the cloud coaches are not fast. I mean, they're not like slow, but they're not. They're no faster than just riding a horse or any or even walking in some cases. But you do eventually arrive at a much smaller building, but you would note as well that this one is completely steel, and you would guess reinforced. It looks like fortified. Master Thaddeus will. He is expecting you, and they sort of motion towards the doors.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And we'll step off and head towards the door. We'll knock politely first.
As you knock from inside, you hear a yes, come in.
Ichi enters. Kind of has a courtesy glance around. What kind of environment am I in?
So as you look around, it's a workshop. You sort of step through the doors, and as you do step through the doors, they are reinforced doors. They're about yay thick.
Beautiful.
As you sort of step, and it is like a bunker, but inside it's just set up like a lab. As you sort of looking around, there's bunches and bunches of machines you have never seen before. And over in the corner, you can see hunched over a bench, not old, but middle-aged tabaxi, sort of hunched over like a desk, currently fiddling with something. I don't have a lot of time, but my sister says you wish to speak with me.
Yes. Hello, my name is Ichi, and I was briefly talking to your sister about the possibility of sponsorship in the upcoming Doom Hackra, mainly because I was inquiring as to whether or not you have any possible experimental engines that you're looking to debut. I've been wandering around the city and have seen those god-awful cinder smoke engines, and obviously they are trouncing the competition they're pretty much all of the competition in the Doom Hackra, and I remember coming to this city when I was younger and seeing all of the Aether streams with the cloud engines and being amazed at how clean and efficient they were. And then with all of these races taking part, it just seems a shame that people are looking to disregard safety and the things that they put out into the world. And I was just hoping that perhaps myself and my team would be able to help bring the Glass name back to the forefront, not only as recreational and commercial, but to show that it has potential with speed and efficiency as well.
As you've been talking, and they are definitely like listening and nodding and looking, you would notice with your insight that around the sort of time you start talking about the Glass family coming back, bringing the name back and stuff, he just starts drilling with like a power tool. And your insight is good enough to pick up he does not give a shit about that. There's almost an eye roll. There's yes, of course, my sister. Always so frustrating, but I personally, I don't really care about the cinder smoke engine. It's a fascinating piece of technology, but I have told my sister that unfortunately there is no way the cloud engine could ever keep up with such a beast. It is just not in the making of it. And they just sort of continue sort of fiddling, and
Ichi kind of like relaxes a little bit, kind of like reads the situation, steps closer to the workbench, kind of like leans lightly, looks over the shop, like watching kind of what they're doing. Okay, no, I understand that.
As you're looking at what they're doing, they're currently messing with what looks like a very large fish hook.
Okay.
It is connected to a good length of steel, and they're currently messing with some sort of contraption on the other end of the steel line. And they're just suddenly like fiddling. As you sort of peek over, they do like give you a quick look, and you sort of pick up this like quick glimpse of madness in their eye as they like look at you through one eye out over the glasses. Well, the only way that he sort of steps like a little, like just 1 foot. He's not like not trying to show you, but he like sort of lets you see, but steps away from you.
Yeah.
Like. The only way that a cloud engine would win would be to take out every other member. I mean,
Well,
this
is also something that I was talking to. Regardless as to the reputation of the family and such, as obviously you're more focused on your own work, which I admire greatly. A way that the Aether Stream vehicles can almost turn back to the cloud engine, almost per se, would be to highlight the fact of they don't need to be faster, but they are more reliable. And I feel like looking at the work that you're doing here, that might be how you're able to help. If we are able to have sponsorship from the Glass family or yourself as an individual and outside inventor, perhaps we could still show some people the fun that can be had. And we'll kind of give that kind of like, we'll mimic with the, like, tune into that like crazy eye that he gave me and kind of be there like, look at him, look at the weapon on that he's almost constructing with this like fish hook gatlet, not like harpoon, and then just kind of like smile a bit, because it does seem that you have an eye for the interesting attachments that can be put on one of these vehicles.
he like looks to you and give me a persuasion. It's going to be flat, unfortunately.
That's
you have successfully negated his suspicion for the disadvantage. But
let's roll well. Oh, we roll well. 21, 15 plus 6.
They look and I mean, it is possible either way. I mean, what do you mean about attachments? This is not for a cloud coach. This is a sky hook. And it sort of like looks at you, expecting you to know what that is. And then, you know, the city is. You've seen it. We are all over the mountainside. Something that could lift, construct, lift things to higher altitudes. I'm not quite sure how it would work just as yet, but for your proposal, I will definitely think about it. Let me talk to my sister. I do think that if we modified some of the armaments and the protective layers, took out a few seats and a bit of the amenities, we could maybe get something that could compete. But you would have to take them out. It is the speed difference is too much to account for.
Of course. If you wouldn't mind my inquiring, I myself am not an inventor. I'm merely just someone who's, I would like to say, inspired by what you're doing. This construct is being made with the idea of shooting up high, like onto a mountain, and being able to almost grapple a vehicle up it. Yes.
Yes, effectively. Well, no, not the vehicle. Resources. You would be able to affix. Someone would be able to climb up and affix this. It would float and account for any materials, and then they could winch heavy. You sort of see there's like some like the politicians don't like the magically crafting buildings anymore, but that's put cities like Cadfessi in a little bit of a predicament.
Of course. But what if it did grapple, it pulled the vehicle, and alternatively, rather than aiming for it to be a strong winch that pulls a heavy thing slowly, we dial that down a little bit, aim it forwards, and use it almost like a slingshot. We use the cinder smoke against itself. Upon that moment of passing, not only will the harpoon be helping us to accelerate and capitalize on that, but could also snap off and cause some internal damage on them. Again, I am no inventor. I'm merely just someone who has read a book or two, but
all of a sudden he just like holds his hand up. You must go away now, I am thinking. My sister will be in contact. And then he just starts fiddling with things and blanks you and just is now like...
The seed has been sown.
Ichi's way more sneaky than I thought he was.
Ichi smiles, nods, and backs away, turns around, smiles, and walks out the door.
Okie dokie. Give me a general intelligence just as you're leaving to see what you are able to ascertain from...
intelligence or insight?
Just a straight intelligence. This is literally just of what you're glancing at that's on the workbenches.
Natural 20 with a 0 modifier.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, as you're leaving, and I assume you are just leaving.
Yeah, I like the moment he's kind of like, so I'm like, cool, I've planted the seed, I'm gonna back away.
So one larger thing that sort of grabs your attention as you're passing, it does almost look like an engine, but it's too big, and they sort of like you're sort of trying to see if that's maybe the thing you saw flying in the sky.
Yeah.
You see some of the notes, and that seems to be almost like an air purifier.
Okay.
That it seems to be for cleaner, healthier environments. I think of the few glances, the other name that you see on there is the Cloud Cartographer.
Cloud Cartographer. Ooh, that's a cool name. I like that.
You would pick up pretty quickly with that Nat 20 that a lot of his inventions seem to be of economic or health relation. That was not the vibe you got from his sister.
No.
His sister's very much about making monies.
He's about making the world better. I like this guy.
But you would pick up that it doesn't look done in the slightest, but there's this big old thing that he's talking about would suck air into one of the functions, be filtered and processed in the middle, and then pumped out as vapor on the other side.
I want to say something, but if anything, it might turn him towards abandoning the family business and going over to the cinder smokes. In my head, I'm just sat there like, oh, imagine if you put one of those on a cinder smoke. Yeah. Then you've got
and your insight would have picked that up. He is not against the cinder smoke in the slightest.
Yeah.
He is an inventor through and through. That is a cool piece of tech. How can I make that better with what I can do? Is the thought rather than.
Then Ichi is going to let that thought slip of kind of like as they're walking out, they look at that and go, interesting. That wouldn't do too badly on a cinder smoke engine. Raw power and cleaner air. Well, and then we'll just walk out and close it says well and closes the door behind them.
Okay. With that, I'm going to flick over to Dante. You've been carousing for a few hours now. Been cutting about, getting your stuff done. You've had a few meals. Give me a insight. Actually, no, an investigation or an insight. Up to you. Which
investigation by far. Oh, fuck. Yeah. So I've got a +6, but that's an actual 1. So it doesn't really matter.
With the Nat 1, you don't notice you've been having a good old day. you're also pretty tired. And like in the times when you haven't been doing the performance of like selling the story, you find yourself yawning. You've even found yourself drifting a few times in the few moments where the conversation lulled and got boring. One of these times, so as we join you, you are in the midst of listening to the bartender talk at you about their life, and you almost like do that like straight up off the bar, and as a customer walks in and they say, I'll get that right, don't go anywhere now, I'll tell you that story again in a moment. So they sort of like rush off to serve somebody. The people you were with, you sort of like look around, and the people you've been with are sort of gone. What would you like to do? Would you continue your carousing or switch up? It's maybe about 2:30 in the afternoon-ish.
Liam, can I do a sidebar question to you?
Yeah.
Say what I asked about the swords thing idea. Did you consider that any further?
Yeah, it's still gonna be, as I was saying, where it's not doing anything teleporting magically or anything on that.
It's not going to be teleport.
No, again, I'm thinking it's just going to be basic. Is what I'm going to go with for now. At least until things progress, if that's you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
So as it stands right now, nothing. It's as normal.
Okay. There's honestly not much then that Dante will. Actually, no. What Dante will do is maybe say throughout his throughout say part of the day, I want to actually potentially find or look at maybe other potential races. See if I can find out about anything about who else is actually in the race.
Okay, so just sort of okay, so give me an investigation as you sort of start trying to gather members.
Much better. 23.
Okay. So it takes an hour or so, but it's actually fairly easy. And actually, as you already have been talking about the chaotic embers, it's a fairly easy transition to sort of say like, oh, who else is, are there any other names racing her? You would find out that the only known like excitable name that people seem to be talking about is
Might as well find out information about our enemies.
Definitely.
Is Orkin Moonshadow. You would find out that the reason that that's such a big deal is...
Isn't Moonshadow the surname of the Prime Minister?
The current Prime Minister. His eldest son is entering the race.
Oh.
We're going to end up killing him.
This is their exiting Prime Minister, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
This is. They are handing over to the Verdant Circle. You would find out in this that they are handing over to Elder Kael Stonespeaker. So that's Kael Stonespeaker. They are a dwarf, fairly well known, a revered elder and shaman, and member of the Andonite religion. You would find out just generally a little bit about them that they're most well known for being part of the peace negotiations during the end of the War of Book and Cloth. So they are actually part of the council that basically called a halt to everything and stopped the war. He's known for having a almost unwavering commitment to diplomacy. That hasn't, throughout this hour of investigation, it hasn't always been seen as a good thing. They've been almost in some cases it's sort of seen as they don't have the guts to go and do what's necessary. They're always putting it off or putting it to someone else or something like that. But the majority of people seem fairly happy with it. The entry of Orkin Moonshadow, you find out is a bit weird. Just like people are like excited because it's the Prime Minister's son, and he might die. But also it's there's a lot of talk around why the factions are entering, right? Why there's not many people entering. It's lots of companies and factions. You would find out that there is a second vehicle under the Lyrics and Arcanum, but their rider is not known or important or in any sense.
Do I get to know how many people are doing combustion and how many people are doing ether?
Everyone is on Cinder Smokes.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, so everyone is on it. They are the combustion engine.
Yeah.
But everybody currently entering, and even like if Dante asks, there's almost just laughing around. Like there's not a chance that a Cloud coach could keep up with one of these Cinder Smoke engines.
And I How many days do we have left till we have to have a vehicle of some kind?
So you've still got quite a few because entry into the contest is 24 hours before. No, 48 hours before. Sorry, but it's on the 5th day, so you would need to enter by the 2nd day of the festival.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we're still 2 days out, aren't we?
Yeah,
I think we're 1 day out now because it's been the
next. You are.
Sorry,
at the end of this day will be 1 day out.
Would I be able to find out any? I don't think I'll be able to find out if there's anything about the Cinder Smoke. Would I just by chatting around?
Oh, I mean, not that isn't already known. You know that they are loud, they are highly volatile. With that role, I would say that, because again, this is like, you're talking to people down the pub. So there's a lot of like misinformation in terms of how it works. But what is known, perhaps the Cinder Smoke.
I'm gonna what I kind of am looking for are ways to sabotage.
Oh yeah, no, and I know that's what I'm going to tell you. And that is the very obvious, the pretty plain one, because the Cinder Smoke engine works by basically using a contained keg of gunpowder or a modified gunpowder and exploding it over and over and over and over and over again. And the reason these are so volatile is because most of the people that made them in backyards. Like, there's very few professional Cinder Smoke engine builders. Like 90% of them have put it together with scraps. This gets even more dangerous if you try to refuel it during flight. So they have a set, I believe, 4-hour limit. If you do not put down while you are trying to refill, there is chance it goes boom. People have, and part of one of the big things that is all over Tuil is a lot of the richer and politically aligned civilians talk a lot about the deaths. That's the big thing on, like, we've had, there's engineers that have died building the things. There have, just testing it the first time requires you to put gunpowder into a possibly not correct machine. Essentially, damage and fire is not great for it. Most of them are heat protected, because for obvious reasons. However, obviously, enough damage to anything can bust the cap and give access to allow you to explode it, essentially.
So yeah, because the question, so things, so like for example, when you say bust the cap, is the cap it just usually like a little kind of screw on thing?
Varies, and this is the other issue. And what you would learn through this is because there are no professionals, there is no standard. That like some of them have like long tubes that you have to literally like reach up to put the like. It's whatever they could get hold of that worked and fit, and they've not met. People are still tweaking it, but there's almost that era as well. Once it works, why mess with it till it's broken? So yeah, some of them have a fairly obvious tank cap on the top. Some of them have tried to be clever with where that tank goes. Some of them have not. Like you will have to. That's definitely more you would have to see on the day or figure out how to get a look at their vehicles beforehand.
Which follows really nicely to my final question: is where like on before once you sign up and you go here, okay, your cars need to go somewhere. Do they just turn up like pod racers do, where just come out from like their kind of mate's back garden, or
there is a lot of like? I mean, you saw and you would actually be thinking, right? You saw the back of that the gnome's wagon. That was a cinder smoke vehicle, just in bits, not set up. You would know, however, So at the point of the race, there'll be you're not sure about the start of the race. That's not like known info yet, but you do know that there's supposed to be like a parade of entrance on the third day of the festival when the when entry has closed. During the like midday meal, there's going to be like a display so that they can get the crowd excited for who's going to be in the races.
As much as I'd love to have a cinder engine, I don't think, say, my my heated personality would be a good idea.
There's a reason why I'm going for a cloud engine.
Yeah, when your driver is prone to combusting.
I am the combustion engine, really.
Yeah.
Just add fuel to the fire.
So, okay, so other than that, I'm going to leave you sort of, you're investigating, you find out some things. You would also hear in this that one of the teams has dropped out. The reason nobody knows, there's a ton of speculation. There's a lot of speculation that it was a criminal element because the sponsor was like some unknown name, like it was like some company nobody's heard of. And they dropped out officially because of health reasons on the team. But there's a ton of speculation. Apparently there was vehicles being stolen and broken into. There's talk of somebody having their hand chopped off during a struggle with the guards. Those three, the sort of combination of things. There's like some people are just like, oh yeah, they dropped out, probably just wusses, saw all the lists and backed up, and there's other people like, no, I reckon that's some shady people that were going to enter the race and try and take the money.
Okay.
But with that, I will flick back over to Eleni and Volu, who. You're looking and you're looking through and you're looking around Tuil and you're not seeing anything. And you start looking a bit further afield and there is no sign of any village or any settlement ever being called half over. Hey, Lenny.
Yes.
You're sort of sitting and you're looking and you're having a look around. And there is a village in the east side of Ostvel. What is now Yixon territory, but on this map, there is no name of any. There's not even like desert-sized people that are called the Yixon at this point. It's literally just like a tiny thing. There's a small village called Arvovo. And when you're looking at it, it's almost like it's not quite, but there's almost like a giantish, gnomish, and with what you've traveled quite a bit, and you know that a lot of the names and such, and its translation is halfway over.
Oh. Is it next to a forest?
It is. And if I
And
take
are there
you,
mountains?
if I take you to the map, you look over on the map, and it is on that far. It's on the far east side of Ostvel, where the land sort of sticks out. And you can see as you sort of looking, and you look at literally, there's just this one map with like a pinprick named Arvova, and then as you sort of like move to look at other maps, the forest becomes named Arvova, and the sign of the village disappears.
Ah. I'm gonna call Volu over and point this out and say, Volu, the name of your village, could it have been Arvovo?
Volvo. At that point, he kind of stares off and tries to remember the last time he was in the village, and can picture his parents talking about where they're from. And it vaguely sounds correct.
And do you remember if there were any gnomes in your village?
You would get a flash of known children that you played with from time to time.
I think so.
You see, Arvovo is gnomish for halfway over.
Hmm.
And it's near a forest. It's got mountains.
But how? That's on the other side of the world.
It is, but
and
it's
they-
the closest thing we've found so far. We haven't found anything else, have we, that was even close?
And Eleni, as you look at, as you look down and sort of, you look to where the dates and the sort of scratchings of when the maps were drawn.
Mm-hmm.
So the first map that shows Arvovo village, and in that map the forest isn't named. That is in 6,989.
Okay. That just shows the village.
The map that is later that shows now the forest is named, but the marker for the village is gone.
Yeah.
That is in 7,120.
And what's the date now?
7,790. No, 7,925.
Right. Can I go back to the modern section, find a modern map of the same area, and put it next to the old map?
Okay, as you put it over and have a look. So the forest in the modern maps is unnamed. And it doesn't seem like less. And as you sort of look at the historical text, there is lots of mention of the Yixan renaming things in a almost stamp of their presence. However, there's almost like the note of like no current name known. There's no settlements in that area, and a lot of the area north of that is dedicated to farmland.
I mean, that's the map. Can I go back to the gazetteers now and look at Arvovo rather than half over, which we were looking for, and just see if there's any kind of record of that village or that place existing and any historical mention of it.
So you're looking, and by this time now it's starting to get a little later. It's maybe 3, 4, 5 p.m. And there's no signs of it, and you're not seeing it. And Volu, you're a bit like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I wasn't, when I was recalling it, it was more like a maybe at best, but half over is the thing that stays in my head.
But Tutu, with the...
I'm not Tutu.
Sorry.
Eleni.
But Eleni, it's because you were playing Tutu recently as well.
I know.
But Eleni, with the 21, I believe, on the intelligence earlier.
20, I think, yeah.
20. There's suspiciously no mention. There's whole areas of the Gazetteer that talk about that area of the Yixen. They talk about the Yixen expanding out of the desert and moving into the more luscious plains, and that sort of it's all very focused around how that move allowed the Yixen to expand northwards and cross over. So they originally were on this edge. The capital city was sort of on this edge of the desert and wasteland. They went south first of all and sort of moved around the coasts using their ships and such, and very quickly took the fertile lands to the east, turning it into the farmlands that would later supply the empire with the food it needed to go forth. You can see there's a number of battles they took over. There's diplomatic places they took over. There's battles that they did to take over. It does not mention. It almost, you get like, and they moved into the area and set up farms.
I think for Eleni, Arvovo is close enough to half over, but with the translation as well, that feels like too much of a coincidence for it to not be something. And I think the fact we haven't found any trace of it anywhere else either. I'm going to go up to the reception desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to speak to the librarian and say,
as you approach, have we found what we are looking for?
I think we might have found something on one of the older maps. And obviously I wouldn't want to take such an old map or an old book out of the library, but I wondered if there was any kind of service that would... is there any way we could have a copy made? Would anybody be willing, if I paid them, to sort of draw a copy of that map for us so that we could take it with us?
Yes, we have a service where we can have our scribes copy a section. It is 5 silver per page, or a gold for a large singular piece, if it is such as a map. If you wanted the whole map, for example, but if you just wanted a page, it is 5 silver per page.
No, I'll take out a gold and give her a gold piece and say, yes, I would like the whole page, please. And can you tell me how long that will take?
We'll take the scribe at least 2 or 3 days, but at least a basic form should be there within 2 days. If you wanted more details with close to matching, that might take another day.
I'm going to put another gold down, and I'm going to say we will be here for the festival, I hope. But if there is... if that could be an incentive or a tip, perhaps, for the person doing the map, I would be very grateful.
They take the money and say, thank you very much. If you want to come back, you can, or if you want to give a place where you are staying, I can have them notified when it is ready.
Yes, we're staying at the Rusty Bucket in the Forge district on Lower Hill. If you could perhaps say that it's for Eleni, and I'll sort of write it down for her. Yeah,
and they take that note. And
as Eleni's writing that down, I can go, you seem to be a real expert in all things. How are you with identifying trees?
They will look very puzzled for a moment, and then you would see them thinking, "How much do they know about trees?"
I mean, we could have probably been looking at books on trees if we wanted to do that.
Well, it depends on. I am more well versed with the fauna and flora that exist within the perimeters of the Zanagaeth Desert, but I am fairly proficient with all the wildlife on Tuil.
Does this belong to Tuil? And I'll hold up my amulet, which is a piece of wood from my home with an engraving in it, and go, could you tell me where this is from?
I'm not. It will depend. They take a look. They let me see if they can. Okay. So they. This is an interesting piece, actually. You see here, and they don't chip away, but they sort of show you that there is a varnish on it. And where it has naturally worn away just through wear and tear and stuff, you sort of almost see like a like grey brown undertone to the wood. I think this is from a grey oak. Now, you would be right in saying they are not quite right in saying that they are not from Tuil. However, the only place they are known to grow is down by Dovar in the far east. There is not many of them, but they are known to grow there. They grow more ostensibly in Ogarsliv, near the Snowholm settlement. You guys, Volu means nothing to you. Hey, Lenny, you know that Ogarsliv is the continent in the south. You know it is mostly populated by the displaced refugees of the Dragonborn race and others of that kind. You also know it's fairly heavily populated with pirates and other criminals. And she goes there. As she goes to say the other place, she pauses. And both of your insights are easily good enough, as she doesn't cover very well, that she was going to say another place before she... No, I do think that is it. I think...
So I could tell she was going to say something else.
But she almost stopped herself, and
I would put the map that I want copied in front of her, and just put a finger on Arvovo Forest, and say, "Is this perhaps another place?" And I'm going to say it really quietly, Liam, almost like just between me and you.
Give me a persuasion.
I'm going to put my hand on Eleni's back as she's doing this and give her a bit of guidance.
Thank you.
Okay.
But that was a 19. I'm going to do the D4 anyway. Oh, just a 120.
You would see that there's like like Eleni, you were sort of saying it like I imagine Eleni was thinking, oh, she's hiding something more than like, oh, like she can't say. She sort of she looks a bit confused for a second, but then goes, oh no, well, yes, but no. I was going to say that are of Volva Forest, but they no longer exist there. Unfortunately, there haven't been any. The last, from what I heard, the last grey oak tree in Arvova forest was cut down 400 or 500 years ago. The as you might know, the Yixan do quite a lot of farming in that area. So I thought to mention it, but there's no way that this could. I mean, it doesn't look old enough to be to have been crafted from the trees that were at Arvova Forest. But the places that I mentioned are where you would be able to find them now if you were maybe looking to make a replica or some such thing.
There were grey oak at Arvovo.
A long time ago. So I believe it was said that was the almost part of the forest where they were birthed in. It is we do not know its truth, but it is said that Ogresliv once was more connected to the land of Ostvel, and that the grey oaks that exist near Snowholm are actually some of that same forest.
You've been really, really helpful. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I will get these sorted for you.
Yeah, as she says that, I kind of close my hand around the oak. There's almost a shudder in my body when she said that there's no more oak trees there anymore, and there's just a weird prickliness on my neck that makes me even more convinced that Half-Over is Arvova. And then as she finishes up a sentence, I kind of compose myself and go, "Thank you," and then kind of scurry out of the library and kind of just go straight past Eleni and doesn't really want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I would gather our things and follow him.
I will quickly flick back out towards. So, Ichi, after your meeting, would you be trying to go anywhere else? Trying to do anything else specifically, or would you be heading back to meet the group in the Bloody Banner as agreed? Oh, you muted. Sorry, bud.
I will swing by the reception and kind of like give the address of like the tavern that myself and Dante are in, so they can have easy contact. And then I'll just be heading back to where we've been meeting. Okay,
and Dante, after you've gathered your information, anything else you would like to do with your evening before you head back to?
I'll probably grab like maybe a couple more of those sandwiches that we had the other day because they were nice.
Well, this party is so sandwich heavy.
Honestly, we love a sandwich.
That's going to be our team name, the Sandwich Collectors.
Okay, so you all begin, and for the Volu and Eleni, are you heading back towards the Bloody Banner as well?
I think
I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back to you before you get to the Bloody Banner. But is that the intended direction?
That's my assumption. If
Volu's heading that way, well, which way are you heading?
I'm. Things may change, but that is the idea that that Lenny's got, and I'll run with it for now.
Okay, no worries. So what as Dante, so each of you are able to make your way back fairly easily. Dante, as you are in line for your sandwich, as the person in front of you gets their sandwich and they turn around, they bump you on the shoulder enough to sort of, like, Jesus. And as you're sort of like looking at them, almost probably to give the death stare of go away, can you make me a charisma save?
Ooh.
Really?
Yes.
I think that's going to be, I hope that's going to be all right, because that could be bad. 13?
Okay. Next thing you know, the sandwich guy's going, "Mate, what do you want? Look, there's a line. Like, do you want a sandwich? Like, you've just been stood there. Like, I'm talking to you. Like, look," and he almost starts to be like, look, what you have to like almost try to serve past you, and you sort of get the feeling that you have been stood here for a minute.
2 sandwiches.
All right, mate. Coming right up. Are you all right, by the way? A bit heavy on the drink today. You got to watch that in the sun, the desert. Look, if you're not from round here, be careful in the sun, right? And he starts like setting you up a sandwich, and
Yes.
you get given.
Do I feel anything? Do I feel different, or is there kind of like?
No, it's just like sort of look yourself over. You feel the same.
I was going to say there's no like bodies on the floor.
Yeah. No, like, everything around you seems okay.
No flame marks.
Make me a perception as you're sort of taking a little glance around.
Good old -1, 2.
Yeah, no, it's and actually where you're stood, you sort of moved because you were heading towards the Bloody Banner, and you sort of stopped for a sandwich in the markety area before you get there, and it's too noisy. There's too many people moving around.
Did I see the guy that knocked me?
You didn't see his face.
Tall, short. Just check my stuff.
Your height, and give me an investigation as you begin to check your stuff. Your height. Much skinnier than you, slender build, but it's almost like they were fully hooded. And it was as you saw, and as you're thinking, it's like as they turned to you is at the point that you don't really remember after that.
18.
Everything seems where it is.
My gold weapons.
No one's
taking that fucking thing.
No, but that's still on your back. Everything's still there. In one of your pockets, and you have quite a few of like the sort of, they're not hidden, but they're not obvious pockets. There is a pad of paper and 2 pencils that you do not remember picking up. Nothing written on them. You sort of flick through. It's like an empty pad. The pencils look used.
Paper been ripped out? Or
hard to tell. It's almost like a ring bound, so it's like there's not left behind paper. You would, if you tear it out, you would actually notice it looks like one of the sort of ticket books that the guards have, and it's like it's made with the intention to rip it out and give. You're supposed to rip them off and give them out. You've no idea why you've got that in your pocket.
Thank you for the sandwiches. And is going to very cautiously make his way back towards. Then he's uncomfortable.
Okay. Over to Volu and Eleni. Eleni, you're able eventually to catch up to Volu as he storms ahead, and you've not actually seen Volu move this quick since you've met up with him.
It's took her 6 of her steps to catch up to me rather than the 1.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think her legs are probably as big as Vol.
Yeah.
Volu, slow down a minute. Are you okay?
Volu's not going to say anything, and he's still clutching onto his amulet, and is going to look around and try and find somewhere where there's greenery or a tree, where I can sit under.
Okay, so yeah, we're in the Mythic Ward where you currently are. There is lots and lots of plant life and exotic trees, and none of it is from Tuil. But
are there any grey oaks about?
Roll me a D100.
$72.
You're not seeing any. Definitely you're getting the feel that the plants selected for this ward are the bright, colourful, like it. There are no normal trees. You've got the trees that are, the ones that are all they're not palm trees, but they're like that style where it's like sheaths, almost like plates, scales almost up the side of the tree, and wildflowers springing off them. It's that you actually sort of looking. It's like you would think from some of them are from Ostvel, but it's almost like the deserty plants still, or the other stuff that you've not really noticed before. But you find a tree with which to sit under and plant yourself.
Yeah, and as I sit down, I kind of still have my amulet in one hand and put my fingers in kind of the grass around the tree and just hum a little. And just repeat that about 2 or 3 times, and then that sorts to soothe and calm me. And then I look to Eleni and go, "I'm sorry for that."
It's fine. Are you okay?
I am now.
What happened?
Do you really think my home is gone?
Well, possibly. But then that would mean that you're much older than you think you are. I mean, they're saying that the last grey oak was chopped down 500 years ago, and the map that shows the village, it's like 1,000 years ago.
And this couldn't come from anywhere else. Is there halflings where else she said there would be?
Unless the people who used to live at Arvovo moved and went to a different forest and then kept the name. I mean, it's possible. She said there were grey oak in she said there were other grey oaks
in Dovar and
in Dovar and Osgazliv.
Yeah.
But I have to say, Volu, that Osgazliv it's a dangerous place. People don't go there normally. There's pirates and it's a bit wild. And if you want to go there, then I'll come with you.
The only safe civilization is the Snow Home, which is there is 2 factions of the refugees that sort of were pushed out. There are the ones that want to just get on with it now and this is the lot we have and we're just going to deal with it. And there's the ones that are very angry and not happy with having been forced out to live on the west side of Osgazliv is lots of mountains, forests. It tends to be quite snowy, quite cold. The eastern side, however, there is never any snow there, but it's due to the sulfur pits that just pour out acrid sulfur smoke constantly.
Would Eleni know about that? Would she know?
Yeah,
that's all common knowledge.
Yeah, that's all common knowledge.
So I would say, I mean, do you remember it smelling like sulfur? Like bad eggs? Do you remember any kind of smell like that, or do you remember it being very snowy?
I don't remember snow, and if there was eggs, we wouldn't let them go to waste. They wouldn't have time to smell bad.
I don't have an answer right now, Volu, but it's too much of a coincidence for me. The fact that it sounds like the place and the translation means the same sort of thing. And we've just spent a whole day poring over those maps and haven't found anything else that came close.
He takes a pause and mulls over all the connotations that his entire livelihood has gone, that his race has been eradicated from its homeland, and then just lets out that little hum again, and then focuses and kind of snaps and goes, it's a lot to take, but we have other things of more priority. Like we need to catch
The
up with
amulet.
Ichi, and I've got my weaving competition. I've got to hand in my cloak tomorrow.
You do, but I also had a thought, and I'm, I'm not as magical as some of the other people around here, but I've heard that sometimes people can use magic to tell not just what an item does, but I mean, I can do that, but also to be able to tell where something's from. I don't have that magic, but there's a lot of magic users here. Maybe someone might be able to look at your amulet and tell us where the tree grew, that it was cut from. You know, there are maybe ways of finding this out.
Maybe
Don't lose hope.
we've had a long day, and I think I'm getting a bit
Let's go
peckish.
find some food. Food will
Yeah.
fix it.
He kinds to snap out of it and kinds to restore a bit of the cheeriness, and lets go of his amulet and puts it back underneath his cloak, and then lets a smile to Eleni and goes, "Let's go."
Okay.
Okay. Eventually, you all would make your way back. Not all at the same time. I think each you would probably arrive back to the Bloody Banner first. As you go in, there is some of the same faces you saw from last night. The orc that won all those drinks is back in. You can see that it almost they're not like challenging to races, but there is now that whereas last night was a bit more calm. There's a bit of betting going on. There's some gambling. There's people getting excited. You can hear a lot of talk about the upcoming race and like I can't wait to see the full roster at the event. Dante, I'd say, would probably arrive second, but only just before Eleni and Volu. As you all are able to come back in. You would notice, Ichi, that the waitress that was here last night they're not here at the moment, but then also you may be thinking they were on the late, they were on the later shifts, and maybe they're going to show up in a bit. Maybe it's not their night, but you would notice that it's a different person. You have noticed that generally throughout this, that like this pub is quite large and does have a number of staff that come and go. But yeah, you would be able to meet up and come back together.
Dante will sit down, and he'll pull out that pad again and the pencils. He won't even acknowledge Ichi at first. And is there one thing that I again don't think this will work, but I've got high intelligence, so that's where I'm basing this off. I want to do that kind of light shade thing to see if I can see the indent
to see the indent of whatever was written previously.
Yeah.
Okay. So, give me a D100. I'm going to see how much of the message of whatever was written is.
73.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to send this to you.
In what forum?
Facebook. So as you start to scribble over,
So, guys, this video has been sponsored by you amazing people. You're all fantastic. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get all notifications for all our YouTube content, which, believe me, is some of the best stuff you'll ever find in your life. If you like D&D, if you like humour, and if you like a great DM, then this is the place to be.
You missed your calling.
Yeah, chuck us a like if you want. Yeah.
And if you don't enjoy us, or at least don't enjoy Chris schmoozing the DM, press mute now.
Sign up to our Patreon, and on the top tier, you can eliminate Chris for an episode.
Oh, at the top tier, yeah, you can just remove a player.
I feel like out of everyone who would get removed, it would probably be me.
Just because we've said it now. And that would just be
I
it.
was just thinking there they could actually not just remove Chris, actually whatever's taking over Dante, let him out.
Oh, don't.
They choose.
What was that? Again, I missed that. So
The top tier patron gets to choose when your friend comes
Takes
out,
control.
comes out or doesn't.
That could be like a charity game. We could get people to pay to trigger.
That's the Chris and
how
Liam one
much-
shot where it's just those two, and Liam's like, right, we're playing with just the other person.
Oh,
I honestly, I would actually, I would love to say like just. I mean, if we were saying that, say I'm the chaotic one, just the pure kind of chaos that game would bring, where say like, right, okay, now he's out.
Yeah, letting you off the lead.
Honestly, and I've been thinking about this a few times because you are chaotic but then also it is my own fault because pretty much your entire gaming history has been with me. Like, I
So what you're saying is that
you had another DM for a little bit, but I was a player with you in that campaign.
what you're saying is that you deserve for this to happen, Liam.
Yeah,
I said this on Monday night. I said something to Thomas about the fact that I said Paul is actually mine and Liam's fault.
Yeah,
And he went, yeah, but then there's Chris. And I went, no, Chris is Liam's fault too.
But yeah, so you do the scratchings, Dante, and how do you react as you and Ichi, he's not trying to hide the fact he's scratching on a bit of paper. I imagine, you're not like over his shoulder immediately, but he's just sort of like scribbling on a bit of paper.
I'm just kind of like sat across.
And I'd say he's
watching.
doing this scribbling as Eleni and Volu. You enter and see them sat at the table on the far side.
We just head straight over.
Ichi will kind of like put a hand up and then kind of like put a finger up and kind of like look at Dante as if to be like, they're in the zone.
We'd approach a little more cautiously then, maybe.
Yeah, I'd start off with like quite a enthusiastic wave to Ichi, and then as he's doing that, kind of pull my hand down. And
He's got so Dante has, if you can believe this, a very stern look on his face.
Never.
Dante, quiet and brooding.
As he pulls away, that stern look turns cold, and there's almost a moment where he just freezes, and he looks up towards Ichi, and to anyone who has any type of insight, fear has struck him.
What's wrong, Dante?
Just pushes over the notepad.
What do I?
So as the note slides over, and are you just openly sliding it?
Yeah.
So Volu and Eleni would be able to see, or are you trying to just show?
Oh no! I mean, I'm showing it to Ichi.
But you're not shielding it.
Yeah. So, but as I'm doing this, I went and got sandwiches. I knocked into someone and I blanked for a moment. Not sure how long.
And as they slide over the note, you would all be able to read. Sorry,
I checked and I found a notepad and pencils in my pocket.
So
I don't remember. Shut up! I'll tell you when. Like,
No.
I don't remember when I got these, and I just thought I would scribble over to see what maybe the last message was. And then he just taps the bit of paper again.
So the message.
Shut up.
Right, if you just want to do it, you just want to do it.
To be fair, that felt like a cue to be like.
I know, right? Like, it's confusing as fuck. Dante could just tell you.
There. It says, I think it says, I'm awake. And wait for further instructions of something. I think he's back.
You talking about?
Yes.
Like
to be clear, in the chat is now exactly what is written.
Yeah, I missed the apostrophe at the start and the thing.
The dots is sections of text that is unreadable. It's not exactly that long, but there are sections of the writing that are not legible.
And Dante is shaking, like his hand is shaking as he's pointing over the everything. I do not know how. I don't know if what this means, but he cannot come out.
Okay. Ichi's color has kind of like also drained from them, as much as they were already that kind of like faint shade of greeny gray. Like it is now just like ashy gray. When did this happen?
Half hour ago. I don't remember. Nothing. It wasn't long.
As you're talking, all of a sudden from the door, there's, oh my god, it's the Afriti! And for Dante and Ichi, there's that cold drop in your chest. And as you turn, there is two gnomes you recognize sprinting towards Dante.
I actually, before I've even recognized anything, the moment I've heard there's the Afriti, I've jumped out and pulled my sword.
The moment you've grabbed your sword, Ichi has turned to you and like hand on sword. Dante?
He's shaking.
Is Ichi.
The two gnomes suddenly go like, that was the name, right? You and the rest of you sort of look and recognize the two younger gnomes from the cart you saw getting searched at the beginning of the gate. Are you guys not the Chaotic Embers?
Can Eleni wants to step in between the gnomes and Dante with his sword?
They are like terrified, and
I'd
say that the room has quietened, and everyone in the bar is sort of giving a cursory, like, even just like, do we need to watch out? Do we need to dodge? Like, is there a bar fight about to happen? Because two people just stood up and put hands on weapons.
Ichi with their like hand on their blade is going to, with their unarmed hand, just slowly be reaching forward to where Dante's got their sword raised to kind of like gently take the wrist.
Eleni throws a really worried look at Ichi and then at Volu to make sure Volu's not in line of whatever's going on. And then she's going to sort of stand and make herself as big as possible in front of these gnomes and say, hey, I remember you two. You were at the gates, weren't you?
Dante leaves, as in he'll go up to the room.
We. So did we? Did we get it right? So did we get it right?
It's fine. He had a bad day.
Our brother said that we were to wait here. We're trying to find some drivers for the Doom Hackra. We had heard that there was a group staying here, the Chaotic Embers. They were said to be a Grundon, a Furbolg, a Halfling, and a human with fiery red hair, and was it? And the younger one suddenly goes, "Was it not Fire Jin? Was it Fire Jin? He had a nickname. We heard his nickname was like the Afriti or something."
Okay. Come and sit down. Now that Dante's gone, she'll sort of glance at Ichi almost for like, is that okay?
Ichi will nod, like, kind of like courtesy, still looking where Dante's gone, wondering if they should go up as well, and then we'll.
Well, I mean, I don't. Maybe they were wrong. I mean, we've been asking around towns looking for a driver. They said that Chaotic Embers had the greatest driver was. Oh, maybe he said to. Oh, they use the cinder smoke like an Afriti, maybe. I don't know if that's right. I'm not sure you got that right either.
You have found the Chaotic Embers. You're in the right place. Forgive our friend. He's had a really bad day. He's not always a people person anyway, and this place is quite crowded. Maybe
these are very busy places. Well, I mean, we're sort of looking for a team to maybe drive our vehicle in the Doom Hackra. Like one of them like sort of puffs up, was like, we could have driven it ourselves, and he's like, yes, but we want to win. Our family needs the money. Our farm is failing, and we could really do with the money, or maybe the favor. Like we need to repair things. And
didn't you have trouble with your crystal?
Have you found the crystal then?
The one that had the chest puffed up like shrinks and goes red in the face. The other one like rolls the eyes. Yes, we found it. We've had to make some modifications. That's kind of why we need somebody who's actually skilled at driving. We have practiced, but in the vehicle as we made it originally, the balance is different now.
Okay.
I am.
What kind of engine is it?
A cinder smoke engine. That's when we were asking around. We asked if anybody knew of a driver that was good with the cinder smoke, and I really can't remember what they said. Said his name was supposed to be, but they said fiery red hair and burns all the side. They were said to be burns from the engine itself. They made it sound very fantastical.
Well, we can definitely consider your offer. I think we probably need to have a talk. Is there somewhere we can get in touch with you?
Yes. They sort of searching around. We are staying up in the Bastion. At the Battered Brew.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Sorry, names. It is Corin. I was wanted to say Corin.
Corin.
Corin. Wait, let me tell those words. Yes, it is. Corin said that we shouldn't go too far into town in case we can't find anybody. He said that maybe we should sell the vehicle. Like I said, we have a farm at Lumbertown, just a few miles south of the mountains, or southeast. But our farm is very broken. Our stuff is not working very well, and our family are maybe going to lose their property. We thought maybe this was.
What kind of split were you talking about or thinking about then?
Well, I mean, we only really need 600 gold to buy the farm from the lord that currently owns it and is trying to take it from us. They say that the land would be better used as something else if we are not able to farm on it, but I don't know where we would go if they took the farm. and our parents do not know we are here, so we cannot go home with nothing. And like I said, Corin said maybe we just sell the vehicle and head home if we cannot find a rider. He is not confident in riding it in its current state. When he says that, again, there's the other, and you can tell these are twins, exactly the same age in the way they act and talk. The one that had been puffy up and then shrinking, they sort of go to puff up and argue, but then almost again, your passive insights would pick up that embarrassment, like that's my fault that this is all happened. They like, they go to say like, well, no, we could, and then it's like,
yeah. Let me. I'm going to sort of repeat the battered brew. You're the firebolts, right?
Yes, but you can use your name if you wish. If we are not the racers, I'm Falca, the one that seems to not be the guilty one, the one that was more quiet and a little bit more cautious. That is Falca, Falka.
Okay.
And that one's Pedri.
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 Falca and Pedri, thank you very much for your offer. I think I need to discuss it with the rest of my team, and we will come and find you tomorrow. We might want to look at your vehicle, though, before we make a decision.
That would be fine. That would be okay.
Very well. If we've got food on the table, I'll offer them some food.
They will immediately like, well, so they'll start to shake their head, and then Pedro will be like, I mean, we've been waiting here all day, maybe. And Falca's like, no, Pedri. Corin said to head back.
And as Pedri says that, I send a telepathy note to him going, don't even think about it.
Give me an intimidation, Molu.
This is the one I tried intimidating to tell us.
And Falca just sort of said, no. Corin said, as soon as we get the message, we have to head back and tell him. And he's like, yes, okay. He gives you a side eye as you send him that message, but we'll listen to his brother, and they start to back away, and we will come back and see you again. If not, come and see us at the Battered Brew.
We will come and find you. We'll come and find you tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I'll wait for them to have completely gone before I turn around to Ichi and go, what was that?
I don't fully know, but it's not good.
Should one of us go and find out if he's okay?
Do we need to run, like you said?
We don't need to run. We just need to be careful.
Does Aileni know what an Ifriti is?
Make me an Arcana. I've always thought religion, but literally in the last year, I read a thing that says things to do with the planes is Arcana. It's only that devils and demons often flick onto religion because of their opposition to the Celestials.
So 17.
You have heard of an Afriti. You know that they are genies from the plane of fire. They are not very common at all. You have heard more of the jinns of the airplane.
Yeah.
There are loads of stories about there. Yeah, less magic lanterns and more floating castles in the sky. But the same vibe of great riches, wealth. Also, not to cross them. It's very much you don't really want to annoy them or get in their way. But also with that, you don't know of any major historical events that are linked to jinns or Afritis or anything of that kind.
I am just going to say, look, Ichi, we've now had a couple of odd incidents. I know that you're looking after this, but I mean that coin being really hot and burning that woman. his reaction then was really strange.
He's scared.
If he's scared, then we should be really scared.
Not here. And then Ichi will wander upstairs.
Okay.
Okay, and just before we continue, are we okay to go till past? Is that
Half past is fine, yeah.
okay? Eleni and Volu, are you going to follow immediately, or are you going to sort of stop a second?
It's not our rooms; it's their rooms. I don't think I would follow. Follow.
The food is on the table, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I don't want to waste the food.
No.
Volu slid Dante's plate over to
Yeah. And then,
Our team name should be the Second Breakfasts. That's all I'm saying.
as I do it, I kind of give Eleni a look, and then I'll be like, "What?"
No. She's just going to sit back. She's going to sort of smile at Volu and let go on.
Less the second breakfasts and more the seagulls, because the food is just scavenged everywhere it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she's going to be sort of a little bit lost in thought while Volu is filling his face.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ichi, you're making your way up. Before you get there, I'm going to jump a little bit back and jump to Dante, as you, I assume, went straight upstairs to your room.
Yep.
So feel free. There's going to have been definitely a few minutes before Ichi knocks at the door. So what have you been doing in this time?
Dante kind of just goes up to his room, closes the door behind. Goes to kind of he turns on, say, I'm sure, is there like a water basin or anything like that?
Steam within the steam power within the city, so yeah.
Yeah. So he splashes water over his face, and he's just holding, say, the edge of the basin. He's just looking at himself in the mirror, and he kind of just goes, "Where are you? You cannot be back. I am in control. You do not control me. Why have you come?" Full on, say, kind of emotions of just anger, fear, sadness, sorrow, everything is crossing him.
Mm-hmm.
And he will just he'll go and punch the mirror, smashing it. Probably cutting his hand or something once he's done it.
So you punch into the mirror, and then you pull your hand back, and you sort of look down to your fist that is currently just sort of leaking out blood. It's not like a pouring wound, but there's the drips of blood from the glass. And as let me just find it, sorry. As you are looking down,
You looking for his name, or?
no, I'm just looking for, yes, the blood runs down your fist and drips into the basin. And even though there is still water fresh in the basin, where your blood drips, a small flame lights up before going out. Like, have you ever seen when they drop phosphorus in water?
I think so. Yeah.
Where they drop the metal in water and it just starts to spark. It's almost like there's an instant, and as the blood drips, it's tss, tss, tss.
I will not let you hurt anyone. I will do what I must to stop you. At which point, say, he will go to like pull out his sword again, and he's just staring at his hand and then at his sword.
As you draw the sword, you unintentionally activate your Crimson Right.
Ooh, fuck. So, okay, as this happens, he pulls out his sword, and as he pulls it out, a wave of like warmth and crackling pain shoots up the side of his body where all his scars are, and the sword itself starts to glow white hot and starts to spark.
You take
And
you take 3 points of damage.
And as he does that, and say the sword suddenly just engulfs in fire. And I'm just taking the damage. You do not have control over me. And he's just got to like he's holding it. He's not entirely sure what his best next move is. He knows what he wants to do, but he doesn't think he can do it. And he's just standing there, and he's putting the sword closer towards him. At which point, I'd imagine Ishi probably comes in.
Well, does Ichi walk in, or
He chooses going straight in.
Okay. So you walk in. His back is currently to you, but there is the glow. And I will say, so it's died down on the sword, so it's not engulfed as you've sort of. It's almost and so to be clear for you, this lasts until your next short rest. It is not something, I don't even think you can turn it off. And have a read of that and check for me. But
Crimson Rights.
Yeah,
I believe you can.
It doesn't say anywhere as a bonus action or anything.
It is a bonus action. So as a bonus action, you can activate this right. A right on a weapon you're holding. A weapon can only hold one active right at a time. When activated, you take 1d6 necrotic damage that can't be reduced in any way. While your right is active, attacks made with this weapon deals an additional 1d6 damage. The type determined by the chosen right. The right effect lasts until you finish a short or long rest, and other creatures cannot gain the benefit of your right.
Oh, wow. So that weapon is just ignited.
So the way this looks is, so when you are not in a swinging position, it is just glowing red hot. And it's when you almost bring it for the attack that the energies flare up for the full flame. So almost as you've brought it in front of yourself, the actual flames die down. So that as Ichi enters, you see the back of Dante just cast in this orange-white glow, rather than like, it's not that the room's on fire. But you can see the glow of whatever is over that way.
Dante?
You don't have to be here.
Dante, I will be here. I don't care. I'm here to help. As much as I can.
He can't get out. He will kill.
Dante, look at me.
You all.
Dante, look at me. Breathe.
Tears are coming out his eyes whilst he's staring at you.
Breathe. Focus on you. Focus on what you feel. Don't focus on the heat.
There's so much blood on my hands.
Focus on your heart.
Do it.
Focus on the guilt you feel. Focus on the things that make sure that Dante is in control. This creature is latching onto you because you are the strong one. You can push it back. And as I do that, I strike down my chest, the iris glows, and I am going to use my channel divinity. Alternatively, I'm going to use the Watcher's Will rather than the Abjure Extraplanar. And the creatures I'm choosing are myself and Dante. For the next minute, we have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. With that,
Interesting.
Ichi drops, just drops both hands, walks over, puts both hands, either side of your head, places their forehead against yours. Focus. Think of all the good you want to do. Think of how you've never wanted to hurt these people. Dante, be in control. You are in control. You beat that son of a bitch back.
As the words flood into your mind, the glow begins to dull.
I'm not letting you go easily. Dante is a good heart, a good person, and a kind soul. And I will not let that be engulfed in chaotic flame. And I am not speaking right now to Dante. I'm speaking to whatever thing is in there. When you finally have the courage to separate yourself from this body that you think you can hide within, be ready. Because we will be waiting for you. And Dante is not going down without a fight.
Can I do a response from?
No, I'm gonna. I was gonna say, and that is where we end this week's session. There is no response. All is quiet. Thank you very much for playing. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you are enjoying the adventures of the calls to Astera, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. If you want to check us out on some other platforms, we are over on TikTok, we are over on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, all the links are down below. Feel free to message us and ask us about the crazy adventures that are going on. And as always, roll well.